Welcome back to RFL. As we have said, for this entire hour, we are focusing on the status of the Republican Party in New York State. And a lot of Republicans feel that their top guy, if they are to have a shot against Andrew Cuomo, is Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino. Mr. Astorino is standing by in Poughkeepsie tonight with my colleague Andrew Whitman. Andrew, take it. It's all yours.
All right, Dominic, thanks very much. In just a short time, hundreds of Republicans here in the town of Poughkeepsie are going to be gathering for their Lincoln Day dinner. One of the people that many of them want to hear from is Rob Astorino, the Westchester County Executive. Rob, thanks for a few minutes tonight.
Thank you, Andrew.
Are you running for governor? I'm sure you knew that question was coming, but are you running for governor?
I am certainly leaning towards that. I mean, I've been traveling around, and as far as I know, Poughkeepsie's not in Westchester, but it's an opportunity for me to really go around the state, as I have been doing, and talking to everyday New Yorkers, whether it's here in Dutchess County or obviously in Westchester or in Buffalo, it doesn't matter. And the occurring theme that we keep hearing from people is that it's getting harder and harder. I hear more and more people talking like New York, like living in New York is a prison sentence, you know, only 3 more years and I'm out of here kind of stuff. And so this is the state that I was born and raised in. It's a state I love very, very much. Clearly, I love Westchester. That's where I've always been. And I just feel that New York is losing. You know, New York is losing in all objective standards. New York is losing.
I want to get back to the platform that you will likely be running on in just a second. I want to do the politics first, though. You were quoted yesterday as talking about Donald Trump by saying the circus stuff has got to end. He's got to decide whether he's in or he's out. But given the answer you just gave us, they're not officially in the race yet, couldn't you make the argument that there's a little bit of circus stuff going on there?
No, because I have from the very beginning said that I will run or not based on my own decision and going through my due diligence. Clearly, a lot of people through New York have been asking me to run, party leaders, the Conservative Party, people throughout New York State. What I meant by that is don't set 100 conditions and say you're not going to travel the state and ask for people to support them and you want every unanimous decision by the Republicans and Conservatives, and you know, if someone else runs, I'm not going to run. You know, either run or not, and that's really what I said. And just, I think a primary is okay. There's not a problem with a primary.
If he gets in the race, a serious candidate, there are probably some voters out there who would be interested in the things that he has to say or the platform proposals that he would espouse.
Anyone who runs, I think, would be a serious candidate if you want to run for governor. And, you know, what I've said to Donald and what I've said publicly is let's focus on Governor Cuomo. That's who I have a beef with. I think that's who he should have a beef with, and I think he does. He said that. And let's not have a circular firing range. That doesn't help anyone except the governor. And we have some sharp differences, both of us, with Governor Cuomo. I mean, as I started to say, I think New York is losing. It's losing its residents. More people in New York are leaving than any other state. It's losing because we have the highest taxes in America, by far, not even close. We have the most corruption, the second highest energy costs, electricity bills, etc. By all standards, we're losing. And this governor hasn't done anything in any dramatic way, the radical reform he promised us 3 years ago, to change that. And you know, you either sit idly by or you get in and you do something about it. So at the very least, I'm bringing these issues out, and I want people to realize there are alternatives.
You ran for re-election last year as Westchester County Executive, very successfully, as a moderate bipartisan county executive. Do you consider yourself a moderate or a conservative?
I don't, you know, I would say I'm more conservative, but I certainly work in a bipartisan way to get things done. You know, when you're in office, you got to lead. As a county executive or a governor, you have to lead. You have to get things done. And I think that's why people re-elected me, because in an overwhelmingly Democratic county like Westchester, we won by 13 points. And I governed. I promised to do things. I did them. I explained what the problem was when I got there. You know, they were taxing too much and spending too much, and people and businesses were leaving. And in the 4 years, we explained the problem, we said what we were going to do, and we fixed it. And people respected that. And I had a lot of Democrats come up to me and say, you know, I don't necessarily agree with you on a lot of things, but I respect what you've done, and you got my vote because you did cut property taxes. We do have more jobs in this county than we had all those kind of things, and I was proud of that.
We're focusing tonight on the state of the Republican Party in New York, and there are a number of Republicans who don't seem to want to play as nice with Democrats or with moderates as you have said that you wanted to do and have in Westchester County with the Donald Trumps, with the Carl Palladinos out there. Is that a disservice to the party if they have to pull you and other Republicans further right to get through a primary process?
Look, I am who I am. I apologize to nobody. I am a man of principle. I'm the one that stood very firm against the federal government who was overreaching into Westchester and stood very firm in saying, no, 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 you're not taking away property rights. You are not going to change zoning and take away power from local municipal officials. So you can put up what you want to put up and where you want to put up housing in any neighborhood. And I said no. And so you can label me whatever you want, but when you're in office, you do need to have bipartisan support in order to get things done. And so without, moving on my principles, we got things done. We cut taxes more than any county in New York. We cut spending more than any county or municipality in New York. 30,000 new private sector jobs. We went toe-to-toe with the public employees unions and said, you're going to have to start paying for health care. And 7 of the 8 are now. And we got endorsements, too. So we're able to work with people, but ultimately, you can scream and yell, but if you don't get anything done, you're not accomplishing anything.
The couple of times already in this interview that you focused on Governor Cuomo, it has been primarily economic in nature. Is that the extent of your disagreement with Governor Cuomo, or do you also disagree with him on social issues as well?
Absolutely agree with him on many things, including the SAFE Act, which he did. We would replace that with something that we did in Westchester, which respected the rights of citizens.
What would you have done after Newtown if you were been the governor?
Exactly what we did in Westchester County. Not rush out for a headline like he did, which put every police officer in New York State in violation, which demonized law-abiding citizens, gun owners, which tried to take away rights of citizens, who used the word confiscate. That stuff has no place in New York. What we did was we said, let's look at the problem. What happened in Newtown? What happened in all these other mass murders? There was a breakdown in the mental health system. So what we did is we had all of law enforcement and mental health and communities come together to talk about what happened, how we can attack violence in Westchester. We had the CDC from Atlanta came up, and we treated mental health issues as the important issue. We also learned from that, and by the way, most of the community was very happy that we did that, and it was an uncomfortable discussion for some. But we looked at the root cause, and we found out that absenteeism is a big issue in schools. And when you have a student who has chronic absenteeism, there are a lot of reasons, root causes. One could be violence in the home, could be sexual abuse, it could be bullying, it could be sickness, whatever. But if they're not in school, the likelihood of them graduating and succeeding in life goes down dramatically, and that's where they turn to violence. So we didn't go after the law-abiding citizens. We attacked the problem, and we made campuses and schools safer. And that's what we did with regard to safer communities in response to Newtown.
The polls that have come out since the SAFE Act was passed have shown, while it's impacted Governor Cuomo's popularity, there is still support, at least more support for the SAFE Act than there is opposition to it, and the governor gets favorable numbers when it comes to gun issues. You made a little hay a few months ago after Governor Cuomo went on the radio and said there's no place for a Republican Party that's going to focus on gun rights.
That's not what he said. He didn't say Republican Party. He said there is no place in New York. Who are these pro-lifers? Who are these gun people? Who are these traditional marriage people? That's what he said. And he said
there may not be a political place in New York for that.
We're not talking political. He didn't say political. He said, who are these people? Meaning citizens. And so what he did was he went after 40, 45%. It doesn't matter if he went after 1. What he did was he told Cardinal Dolan, there's no place for you in New York. He went after any person who has religion in their life and goes to church. He went after anybody in this state who disagrees with him. That's something he should never do. It's not what I do. Look, I have my own opinions about things. And I'm in a fairly liberal county, too. And I have said very publicly, you can disagree with me, that's fine. And you're welcome in Westchester. And every business is welcome. So what happened with those statements, which were absolutely divisive, uncalled for? Let's go to Remington, the factory in Ilion, New York, which is in Herkimer County. They just announced the other day that they're going to expand, and the 2,000 jobs are going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. And one of the reasons why those 2,000 jobs are not going to be in New York is because of Governor Cuomo's statements.
We're just about.
How does that help the state?
We're just about out of time, but I wanted to ask.
I'm just getting fired up, Andrew. Come
I
on.
can tell, you've got a big crowd that's going to be here for you tonight when you're fired up. The numbers are not great starting the campaign. Obviously, we're at the very beginning, but it looks as though it's a pretty big hill to climb to catch government.
You talking about 2009 when I ran?
I'm talking about 2014.
Oh, okay, okay.
You're considered a rising star within the Republican Party.
Yeah.
The 2 wins in Westchester County certainly have helped in that regard. Any concern as you prepare to make a decision about running for governor that if it doesn't go as you hope it would go in 2014, this could hurt you in other endeavors, in other statewide races going forward?
No. Look, in 2009 I heard the same stuff. There is no way a Republican can win in Westchester. It's 49% Democrat, 24% Republican. The incumbent has a big name. He's well-liked, 30-point lead to start the race. He's got more money than banks. So why would anyone want to run? You can't win. Why would I run? Because I cared very deeply about Westchester. I wanted to offer an alternative, and because we could win. And it's the same thing in 2014. In a state that is primed to go back to the winning column if they had a governor that would lead them that way. Because right now we are deeply in the losing column. You just ask anybody. I bet you know a million people, just like I, that have already left New York State or are ready to leave New York State. We got to reverse that, and we can do that.
Mr. County Executive,
thank you for the time. Really appreciate it.
Okay,
Dominic, we'll have more from here in Poughkeepsie a little bit later on, but for now, let's send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. And we are joined right now by Richard St. Paul, a Republican political consultant and a top Republican in the state. And we're also here with Bob Turner. You guys just heard from Rob Astorino. Granted, he's smooth. He's got the look. He's got the sound. Mr. St. Paul, can he really take on Andrew Cuomo?
There's no doubt about it. Like Andrew Cuomo, Rob Astorino has been a county executive, but more so in a leadership position for the past 4 years. So he knows what governing is about. He knows how to govern. He knows how to put forward a budget, balance a budget. He knows about taxes. He knows about a wealth of issues. There are a number of different opportunities here for Rob Astorino. Which he just talked about, which people who are upset about the SAFE Act and that being pushed forward unnecessarily and going against people's Second Amendment, Common Core or Cuomo Core, which actually pits Astorino and the United Federation of Teachers on the same side and saying that this is not a good idea for the education for our students. The economy upstate opens up a wealth of opportunities for Rob to talk about because that hasn't improved. The bleeding of jobs and people from the state of New York.
So this is not just wishful thinking on the part of
No, there's some real issues that need to be talked about in this next gubernatorial election.
Mr. Turner, what would a debate, I'm trying to imagine this, a debate with all the cameras from the state, at one podium there's Rob Astorino, at the other podium there's Andrew Cuomo. What would that debate look like and who would win?
Well, I think Mr. Astorino could point out that the economic state of New York. He could point out how many millions of dollars are being spent in media advertising the opportunities in New York, which, by the way, still put us way behind every place else in the world. These commercials are being used to buttress the governor's position, not to attract business into New York. This is
but I thought that was the Republican governor of New Jersey that's doing that. I'm joking.
He is.
I'm joking.
Let him take the heat for it as well. I find these things unconscionable. But I think we just saw a few minutes of Rob Astorino. I think he is credible. He has a good track record. And he has built a reputation as a person who says what he means and means what he says.
Okay.
And that just comes through. It comes through the screen because it's true.
Okay. Hold your thoughts for just 1 second. We're going to continue on Astorino and Republicans here in the state of New York. Up next, we'll have reaction from the top man in the state Republican Party. GOP State Chairman Ed Cox joins us next. We're back after a short break.